You may have noticed at Kickdynamic that we have been going through an evolution in our brand. You can see that on the website right now. Part of this evolution is to understand the things that you can do within the Kickdynamic platform and the things that you need to do within email marketing to be successful. And we spent lots of time figuring out the best way to describe the type of things that you can do and need to do within email. And we've come out with 3 core areas, and these are the core areas that we now fully focus on and we will be speaking to you a lot about. And they are automation, personalization, with a Z, and relevancy, or APR as we are currently calling it. And I'm going to go through each 3 of these areas now. Let's start with automation. So you cannot have successful personalization in email if you do not automate. It is impossible. It does not scale. You have to have a level of automation, whether it's an email campaign automation or email content automation within our case. And it may be a situation where you're stuck in what we call the build loop, which is that you get a PSD of your email from a designer. It gets coded into HTML, you run some tests on it, and then something's wrong, or the offer changes, or a product goes out of stock, you have to edit it, and then you go back to the PSD, back to the HTML, test it, and then something else changes, it's a week later, and you get stuck in that build loop forever. If that's you, you're not going to be able to achieve personalization, so that needs changing. With Kickdynamic, we achieve automation through the open time technology that we have in our platform, and that updates at every single open with the latest content. So with just one image that's added once to the email, it will update every single time, therefore naturally being automated. So that's automation. Secondly, personalization. So we define personalization where each recipient receives unique content to them. And that unique content doesn't just have to be content, it can be a unique message as well, but in our case it's content. And that can be based on their preference, it could be based on their purchase information, it could be based on behavior, persona, anything that you've defined. It can be based on your own product recommendation algorithm that you've defined. And that is where you want to aim to get to, because that's the core to drive an increase in click-through rate, an increase in revenue, increase in average order value, and everything that you need to have a successful email program. That can also be called one-to-one, which is how we define it. Thirdly, is something that we're calling relevancy, and this might be a little bit unique to Kickdynamic, but we want to put something together that defines what it is, what this is, and it separates it from personalization, because sometimes stuff that goes into relevancy gets disguised and renamed as personalization. So relevancy to us is where groups of people are seeing content that's relevant to them. So for example, they could see something relevant to the location that they're in, whether in London, New York, wherever it may be. They could see something relevant to the time that they open the email, or the weather in their location, and also maybe a segment that they're in. So if they're in women's wear segment, sorry about the bad dress drawing, or if they're in menswear segment, that's a group of people that are receiving content or an email based on that. So that's what we call relevancy. It's not one-to-one personalization, but it's still an excellent thing to include in your email, because you're able to move it from something that's bland and static and one-size-fits-all to these different groups. So this is what we are working a lot on with our customers. It's something we've come out, I hope you like it. What we want to achieve with our customers is that a really good email program will have a good balance of one-to-one personalization where you have data, and a good balance of other campaigns that have relevancy in it where you necessarily don't have data but you can include those, and where it's automated to be able to achieve that. You're not going to automate everything, that is impossible, but you want to aim to at least automate 50% of what you're sending, so you get stuck out of this build loop that you may be stuck in. Thanks.